Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for the weekly pop culture wrap-up. That's right everybody, welcome here to Pop Culture Philosophers and the weekly pop culture wrap-up. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups. This is the show where I go over the week's pop culture news, mostly comic books and movies. Let's get right into it. All we really have for you this week are the Eisner Award nominations. But before we get to that, I do want to address the Swamp Thing trailer. So Swamp Thing is a brand new show debuting on the DC Universe streaming app at the end of May. It's executive produced by James Wan, director of Saw, The Conjuring, Aquaman, Insidious, so Dead Silence, and others, right? Mostly a horror director slash producer. So it's really cool. And I was very excited to hear about James Wan doing Swamp Thing. I mean, that trailer did nothing for me. The trailer made me incredibly not excited for it, to be honest with you. Well, like a week or two ago, they gave out a trailer that all it was just a slow pan across the swamp, and then Swamp Thing rises out of that swamp. That looked cool. Then we got the news that all of a sudden Warner Brothers, DC Universe, they decided they were going to cut and stop production on Swamp Thing. 10 episodes in, it was supposed to be 13. They cut the last 3 episodes, citing creative differences, and then even said that they were going to reaccess the DC Universe streaming app. So, if you're a fan of that DC Universe app, I would be worried right now because it seems like it's not quite catching on the way they wanted to. They have added pretty much their entire digital comic book library, which is awesome. It's actually $2 cheaper than Marvel's. If you just want it for the comic books, it's well worth it. That trailer did nothing for me. It just made it seem like some kind of cheesy, average, run-of-the-mill horror film. And I hope that that's not the direction that they're taking. Obviously, the Swamp Thing, especially the Len Wein, Bernie Wrightson, Alan Moore, John Totleben, Steve Bissette stuff, right? That stuff is sophisticated horror, as they used to call it, right? But it is in no way jump scares and just, it's not typical. And it seems like that's what the trailer's doing. I don't know. Let's get to the Eisner Award nominations. The 2019 Eisner Awards. First of all, I want to talk about one thing real quick before we get to the nominations. A big snub. Once again, Vault Comics gets snubbed. Vault Comics is still on the come up, right? So that makes sense. Whatever, right? I will say this, though. Wasted Space deserved to be nominated, right? And in 2020, you got Fearscape, you got Friendo, you got These Savage Shores. I guarantee a nomination then. But it is a travesty to me. It is a tragedy, even, that Wasted Space was not nominated for Best New Series. Michael Morrissey, Hayden Sherman, Jim Campbell, Jason Wordie, they have really outdone themselves in that book, and that really, really bothers me. So for the 2019 Eisner Award nominees, Best Short Story, Get Naked in Barcelona, the Ghastly Gun Tinnies, Here I Am, Life During Interesting Times, and Suppley Chains, and The Talk of Saints. The Talk of Saints is the Tom King, Jason Fabok Swamp Thing story in that Swamp Thing Winter Special. That's the only one out of these that I've read, and I think that's strong and very strong. Very, very strong. Best single issue / one shot, Beneath the Oak Tree, Black Hammer, Cthulhuese, No Better Words, Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man 319, or 310 actually, and The Terrible Elizabeth Doom Against the Devils in Suits. I've read the Terrible Elizabeth Doom. I have read the Black Hammer Cthulhuese. Out of those two, I would say that the Black Hammer one-shot really deserves that reward. It is an absolute great Black Hammer one-shot that can be read on its own about Cthulhuese, which is the daughter of Cthulhu, which is just a great idea. Emmy Lennox's artwork, it's amazing, it's great, and Jeff Lemire has crafted a great script for that. Best continuing series, Batman by Tom King. Regardless of what people think, seems like a lot of people aren't completely on board with Batman. I go up and down with it myself, but I do think that this year in particular has been strong as hell for Tom King's Batman. It was just odd that got nominated. Black Hammer Age of Doom is nominated. I don't think that's technically a continuing series, but I kind of get it. Gasolina, which my buddy Carl is telling me about all the time. Giant Days, which my buddy Lance is telling me about all the time. The Immortal Hulk, the book that just won't quit. They keep doing multiple printings. It keeps just going up in price. The Immortal Hulk gets nominated, and so does Runaways. Out of those books, I really don't think that the category of best continuing series is reflective of what I think are the best continuing series out there. However, out of the ones that are nominated, I'm probably going to go Black Hammer or Batman, to be honest with you. Best limited series: Batman White Knight, Eternity Girl, Exit Stage Left, The Snagglepuss Chronicles, Mr. Miracle, and X-Men Grand Design Second Genesis. All of those are exceptional nominations. My pick is Eternity Girl. It's going to be hard for Eternity Girl to beat Mr. Miracle, but Mr. Miracle got a lot of glory last year as well. Which I said last year, I thought it was too soon. You got to see how Mr. Miracle's going to wrap up. However, for this category, my solid pick is Eternity Girl by Magdalene Visaggio and Sunny Liu. That book was amazing. It supports rereads like none of the others here on this stuff. Batman White Knight, Snagglepuss Chronicles, Mr. Miracle, X-Men Grand Design, great works, all on their own feet, right? They're great stuff, right? But Eternity Girl is something next level, at least to me. It definitely hit my top 10 books of 2018, so that pleases me. Best New Series is a category that's swept by Image, and I'm all for that. Image Comics does great work, and the nominees are amazing for it, right? But I really feel like Wasted Space was snubbed. It bothers me. Best New Series, the nominees are all Image Comics, and they are Bitterroot. That's fantastic. That's a great book, and I'm very excited to go to HeroesCon this year to meet David Walker, Chuck Brown, and Sanford Greene. Crowded by Christopher Sabella, Rose Stein, and Ted Brandt. That's a great book. Gideon Falls by Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino. We already know that was my favorite comic book of 2018. So, there you go. Ursula by Brendan Fletcher and Carl Kerschel. Man-Eaters by Chelsea Kane, Kate Nimzik. And Skyward by Joe Henderson and Lee Garbett. I want to point this out real quick. These are 6 books that are nominated for Best Limited Series, or Best New Series, my bad. Best New Series. All 6 of those books we talked about here on the Weekly Comic Book Review. We talked about it here on this channel. We talked about it on the Robbie Rants live streams. We talked about that stuff. These books that we all talked about and said that these were some of our favorite comic books of the year, last year, are all now nominated for Best New Series. That's pretty dope. It's a snub for Wasted Space. That still bothers me. But my pick is definitely Gideon Falls. Obviously, I thought that was the best comic book of last year. Absolutely. Best publication for early readers, Johnny Boo and the Ice Cream Computer, Petals, Peter and Ernesto, A Tale of Two Sloths, This Is a Taco, and Tiger vs. Nightmare. I haven't read a single one of those, but I'm immediately intrigued by This Is a Taco. Because tacos are one of my absolute favorite foods. My birthday's coming up, by the way. Robbie Week is approaching very, very soon, and there will be a lot of tacos eaten on that week. Best publication for kids, Acricorn Cove, Be Prepared, The Cardboard Kingdom, Crush, and The Divided Earth. The only one I've read is Crush. Crush is amazing. By Svetlana Chimkova. Fantastic work. That book was amazing, and I got into her work because of last year's Free Comic Book Day. Best publication for teens, All Summer Long, Gumballs, Middle West, Norway, Book 1, The Prince and the Dressmaker, and Water Snakes. The only one I've read is Middle West. And Middle West is great. You know how I feel about it, so that's my pick for that one. Best humor publication, Get Naked, Giant Days, Mad Magazine, Perfect Failure, and Woman World. Not familiar with any of these. I mean, I'm familiar with them, but I've never really read them of late. I haven't read Mad Magazine. It's nice to see Mad Magazine get nominated again. Like, maybe people are caring again with the recent relaunch and stuff like that. Though I do hear a lot of good things about Giant Days. It surprises me that it's nominated for Best Humor Publication. I would never have assumed that would have been a humorous book. So my pick is Giant Days, and it definitely makes me want to get caught up. Best Anthology, Femme Magnifique, Puerto Rico Strong, New Levelant, Twisted Romance, Where We Live, and Dennis. Not familiar with any of those. I don't have a pick for that one. Best reality-based work, All the Answers, All the Sad Songs, Is This Guy for Real? Monk and One Dirty Tree. Just Like Again. Haven't checked out any of those books. Don't have an opinion on that. Best graphic album / new. Bad Girls. Come Again. Green Lantern Earth 1. Homunculus. My Heroes Have Always Been Junkies. And Sabrina. The only one of that I'm familiar with, really, is a Green Lantern, obviously, Earth 1, which I haven't read, and My Heroes Have Always Been Junkies, by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. I haven't read that one either. I would pick them, though, because they are Eisner darlings. Brubaker and Phillips are. Best graphic album reprint. Berlin, Girl Town, Upgrade Soul, The Vision, Walsh, Young Francis. The only two that I am actually, I've read and I'm familiar with are Berlin and The Vision. The Vision by Tom King, Gabriel Hernandez Walta is amazing. It's a darling, but it's already won an Eisner, so maybe Berlin. But Berlin is one of the best comic books out there. Read some Berlin. I'm not completely caught up, but it's good stuff. Best adaptation from another medium. Anne Frank's Diary, Frankenstein, by Viz Media. Out in the Open, Speak, and To Build a Fire. Not familiar with any of those comic book works, but I am hugely familiar with Anne Frank's Diary, and To Build a Fire, which is a Jack London book, and Frankenstein. So we'll see what happens there. Best U.S. edition of international material. About Betty's Boob, Brazen, Rebel Ladies Who Rock the World, Heracles, Book 1, New York, and Sea of Love. Not familiar with any of those, have no pick. Best U.S. edition of international material, Asia edition, Abara, Dead Demons, Destruction, and Laid Back Camp, My Beijing, and Tokyo Teriba Girls. No, I'm not familiar with any of those. Best archival collection / projects, strips, Pogo Volume 5, Sky Masters and the Space Force, Star Wars Classic Newspaper Strips Volume 3, Temple of Silence, Forgotten Worlds, and Worlds of Herbert Crowley, and Mariska. I'm not familiar with those. Best archival collection project / comic books, Action Comics 80 Years of Superman, Bill Sienkiewicz's Mutants and Moon Knights, Dirty Plot, Madman Quarter Century Shindig, which was actually really, really fun. Terry Moore's Strangers in Paradise Gallery Edition, and Will Eisner's A Contract with God Curators Edition. I thought that the Action Comics 80 Years of Superman collection was really well done, but it's going to be really hard to compete with Contract with God, which is one of the absolute best sequential storytelling stories out there, period, by Will Eisner. By the way, if you haven't noticed, Will Eisner is the writer / artist that the Eisners are named for. So let's get to the real stuff here, right? We've already had some real stuff. Best writer, Alex DeCampi, Tom King, Jeff Lemire, Mark Russell, Kelly Thompson, Chip Zdarsky. Really nice to see Zdarsky and especially Kelly Thompson get nominated. Kelly Thompson's been one of the best writers for the last couple years, and it's really cool to see her get nominated. She was nominated for Hawkeye last year with Best New Series, which got canceled. Chip Zdarsky's been doing amazing work over at Marvel right now, but my pick for this is Jeff Lemire. I've already said this. Jeff Lemire, to me, was the writer of 2018. He was absolutely fantastic. Best writer / artist, Sophie Campbell, Nick Durnazzo, David Latham, Nate Powell, Tony Sandoval, and Jen Wang. My pick, Sophie Campbell. I have not read Wet Moon from Oni Press, but Sophie Campbell's artwork, amazing, brilliant, fantastic. Her work is amazing. Just check out Jim and the Holograms if you disagree or don't know. Best penciler / inker or penciler inker team. Matthias Bergata from Coda, Mitch Gerrits from Mr. Miracle, Carl Kerschel from Isola, Sonny Liu from Eternity Girl, and Sean Phillips from all the, Brubaker stuff, and Yannick Paquette from Wonder Woman Earth 1. My pick, Mitch Gerrits. Mitch Gerrits blew us away with Mr. Miracle, did he not? Did he not? Best painter / multimedia artist for interior art, Lee Bermejo, Carlita Lupatelli, Dustin Nguyen, Gregory Panaccioni, and Tony Sandoval. My pick, Dustin Nguyen, absolutely. Descender, Magnifique, come on. Best cover artist, Jen Bertel, Nick Darrington, Carl Kerschel, Joshua Middleton, and Julian Tedesco. I'm going with Tedesco. The covers right there for Life of Captain Marvel and Hawkeye alone are worth it right there. My second pick, though, would be Darrington for his Doom Patrol, what little there was this year, and of course, for Doom Patrol. Did I say Doom Patrol? Oh, Doom Patrol and Mr. Miracle. Absolutely. Best coloring. Jordi Belair, Tamara Bonvillain, Nathan Fairbairn, Matt Hollingsworth, and Matt Wilson. Holy cow. Dave Stewart's not nominated. That means it's time for Jordi Belair to win. Absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe Matt Wilson, but Jordi Belair for sure. Best lettering. David Aha. Right? Alex DeCampi. Jared Fletcher, who was the letterer, for instance, of Paper Girls and Southern Bastards. Todd Klein. Legend that he is. Out of these letterers, and the Hassan from Panel by Panel and Strip Panel Naked not being nominated, that's kind of rough. We also do have Jim Campbell. Yeah, Jim Campbell, by the way, is also nominated. The only nomination, technically, for Wasted Space, if you could say that, but he's done a whole lot more. My pick for that one is Todd Klein. Todd Klein is a classic letterer. He's won before. But the lettering in Eternity Girl is amazing. Outside of him, Jim Campbell. Jim Campbell does an amazing job with lettering. Jim Campbell. Best comics-related periodical/journalism, back issue, the Columbus Scribbler, LAAB magazine, and Panel by Panel, which is by esteemed letterer Hassan Otsmane Elhau. Seriously, Hassan should win this. Panel by Panel is the best publication about comic books. And if you haven't checked out Panel by Panel, you definitely need to. Best comics related book. Comic book Implosion, Drawn to Purpose, The League of Regrettable Sidekicks, Mike Grell, Life is Drawing Without an Eraser, and Yoshitaka Amano, an illustrated biography. I haven't checked out any of those, but Mike Grell, I'll pick that one because Mike Grell's a super cool dude. Best academic/scholarly work, Between Pen and Pixels, Breaking the Frames, The Goat Getters, and Incorrigibles and the Innocents. I have no idea. No idea at all. Best publication/design, A Sea of Love, The Stan Lee Story, A Temple of Silence, and Terry Moore's Strangers in Paradise Gallery Edition, and Will Eisner's A Contract with God, Curators Edition. Once again, it's going to be very hard to beat a Will Eisner book nominated for a Will Eisner Award. Best digital comic, Aztec Empire, The Fuhrer and the Tramp, The Journey, The Stone King, Umami. Haven't checked any of those out, so I have no picks for that. And finally, best webcomic, The Contradictions, Let's Play, Lore Olympus, Tiger. Haven't checked out any of those, so I gave you the picks for the ones that I had picks for. Otherwise, those are the nominations for the 2019 Eisner Awards, which are the Academy Awards for comic books. Vault got snubbed, hardcore. Michael Morisi got snubbed, hardcore. Wasted Space should have been nominated for Best New Series. I think it ultimately would have lost to Gideon Falls, but it should have been nominated. But Vault's going to be nominated next year. I promise. They got to. These Savage Shores, Fearscape, Friendo, Queen of Bad Dreams, She Said Destroy, and we still got more coming up that I haven't read yet. Come on, like Test, Cult Classic coming back. Vault better get nominated soon, I should say. But it would be nice to see Jim Campbell win for Best Letterer, because at least that would be something, right? Because his lettering that's done on Wasted Space right now is perfection. Because Michael Morisi doesn't always give the best scripts for sparsely cool direction and lettering, and Jim Campbell handles that like crazy. Of course, he attributes it all to Michael Morisi and says he knows exactly how many words to fit per panel, but Campbell, come on, homie, you know how to fit them in a panel. You deserve an award. So there's my picks. There are the Eisner Award nominees. I know it was a little bit long, and that's all we have for you this week. It's been really busy here. We got a lot of advanced reviews coming up. We are doing the podcast tonight, so there will not be a live stream tonight. There will not be a live stream next week either. So 2 weeks without the live stream, but don't worry. Plenty of content coming out. The podcast returning with superhero movies, so if you want your answer on the podcast, let me know in the comments down below what is your favorite superhero movie of all time. And yes, we do count Batman. Sure, we'll count Batman, right? His superpower is that he is Batman. So what is your favorite superhero movie of all time? Comment below. You may hear your answer on the podcast, which releases this Wednesday. No live stream tonight. Lots of advanced reviews coming up. Lots of special little things. Let's Talk Night Thrasher will be back soon, but we are in a little bit of a hiatus for that right now. Just a lot of work going on. Free Comic Book Day is this upcoming Saturday. Just like last year, I'm going to have a free Comic Book Day comic book review come out probably on Friday. So thank you guys so much for checking out the video. Please do like, share, and subscribe. Join us here for more comic and movie reviews and other things like that. Weekly comic book review will be on time. And this is another book right here, The Replacer by Zach Thomas, an original graphic novella that came out this last week. I finally got my copy. We're going to be reading and reviewing that. But we got some advanced reviews of books like Bag of Bones, Killer Groove coming this week, and maybe even more. So get on the ball. We're hitting May. We're very, very excited. Robbie Week's coming up. Let's celebrate together. Anyway, join us over at the PCP Army on Facebook if you haven't already. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and join us over at popculturephilosophers.com for past podcasts, the new podcasts, and a whole lot more. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us. Keep on reading, keep on living, keep on wrapping up.